this is an update from my G1, right? It actually asks me, do you want this? But as an average user, I wouldn't understand. I would just click yes. So this is actually the issue, is how do you explain this to your mother? And without, in a very fair manner, and that she can really decide. So I think that's also part of answering the problem. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, I have a proposal maybe. So just give some places where BSSIDs and other information that is stored on the computers or on the mobile devices are exchanged on a random basis. Like if you go to Alexander Place and there's a place where there's a kind of a switch or whatever that sends the information, okay, give me your BSSID, I give it to somebody else. Random. So
okay.
The database won't be disturbed because the data is collected anyway. It doesn't matter if it's you as a person that collects the data, but it's the devices that are collecting the information. Every time you go to such a place, your BSSID is changed, and you can be sure that you are tracked only for the time period of those times you are not next to one of those spots. Mm-hmm. Make those spots public, and everybody can go there and exchange the ID, and that's fine.
But they would have to bring, if I understood you correctly, they would have to bring their access points, power them up there, and let them somehow get the BSSIDs of their access points changed, because actually that's what it's not the client. The client just gets all the access points, the BSSIDs of the access points around.
But the tracking, the most important thing that you can be tracked by, I think, is the mobile device.
Yes, but actually you can opt out from that. You can turn it off.
Yeah, but
it's just so practical. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's why I say don't opt out for that. Just exchange randomly the numbers. So,
okay, I got you.
If I meet him in place, our numbers are exchanged. He goes that way, I go the other way around.
Okay.
And the database is stable. So he goes in the other direction. That's fine.
Okay.
And I go the other direction, and my device sends the signal, but with another information given to it.
Okay.
So I'm not trackable anymore, and make that on places where the people gather normally, or make it on a random basis that every mobile device can ask for that. Mm-hmm. So if, especially the Iran scenario, make it possible that if there's a crowd of like whatever 10 or 15 or 20 people in a place, that actually triggers the situation of, okay, now we exchange them. Mm-hmm. So you have all those people together, and that randomly triggers the exchange, and everything's closed, so or secure. And if you do that, or you don't want to mess with the database on those devices that are stable, I think that's fine, as long as you don't allow to connect those information with the personal information of the one who's living there, and you can exchange those too. It doesn't really matter. You only have to change them on a regular basis, or so.
Yeah, got your point. Yeah, might be an option. I'm just a little bit critical if it scales up to million people.
Well, that depends on how big the number of random, or how sure the randomness is, I think, is it? Mm. So make sure that it's there's enough randomness to the situation or to the system, and then you can manage the same amount of people as before.
Maybe. Okay. Thanks.
Hi. I think there are two separate but related points that we have to think about here.
Okay.
The first one is the right of the users to their data and to their location. And the reality is this service is a commercial service,
right,
and we have every right to turn it off. And it's our job as hackers, as developers, as people who run websites and blogs to, if we think the general public isn't aware that they can turn this off and isn't aware at how this information is being used, it's our job to spread that information and let people turn it off if they want to. And we have technology for anonymously locating ourselves, and that's GPS. And I think we should encourage our governments to continue putting money into maintaining that technology because it works very well and it can continue to work without having to deal with any of these problems.
Right.
The second point that we have to think about is skyhook's data and their rights to the data that you were talking about. And it's kind of funny, I was just reading a paper a few minutes before this talk called What Color Are Your Bits? And it describes, we as computer scientists and as hackers tend to not think of data as having ownership, as having metadata associated with it. Data is data, no one owns it. But the reality is it's not that way. A song is a song, even if it just ends up being a series of bits. And the same thing is true of this data. Mm-hmm. It may be publicly available, anyone may be able to collect it, but the truth is that Skyhook collected it. And the result of that is that that data is their data.
Hang on. They collected some parts initially, and then the users collected without really actually understanding what they're collecting.
That's true,
yeah.
But that was all done through agreements with companies like Apple and Google. And I mean, this is why open source software exists. If we wanted to branch Firefox, branch Android to not do this, we can do that. Right. But I don't believe that it's our right to tamper with Skyhook's data or to try to go against their terms of service to anonymize ourselves.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is we should, understand the issues and find a socially acceptable solution. And probably this will not involve technology, actually, or hacking anything. It will probably, we probably have to involve maybe politicians, lawyers, whoever. Yeah? We need to find a social consensus on what needs to be done for this kind of problem. So yes, I agree with you.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
Okay.
To bring another point into the discussion, I'd like to quote a short abstract of XMPP, which is Jabber, enhancement proposal number 80. Abstract, the specification defines an XMPP protocol extension for communicating information about the current geographical physical location of an entity, which solves many problems because you have to authorize users to chat with them, and then you have to authorize users for their GPS location. I think it's a good approach to this problem.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
I want to make a short observation. As far as I understood, users are allowed to push data into the database, to update them and to refine the information. But how hard is to poison the database with fake data? Because
I didn't try it, but it comes back to your statement is yes, it's probably possible. I didn't try it.
Because you say these services are shipped with every, for example, Snow Leopard machine. So I expect in the near future, probably this functionality will be shipped also to Windows or stuff like that. And the first virus that inject poison data in the database, and no service will work anymore.
Yes, I confirm that Microsoft is actually working on something similar. I don't know what yet. They wouldn't, wouldn't tell me, but it is a big market. So yes, they're also working on it.
Well, I think no questions are left and no time is left.
Okay,
so
thanks.
thank you, Aaron.
Okay, thanks a lot.